What does your body feel like in zero gravity?
What inspires you to become an astronaut?
What exercise do you do, and do you sweat in space?
Would a yo-yo work in microgravity?
So it works.
Station, this is Houston on Space to Ground 2. Are you ready for the event?
The space station is ready for the event.
Las Cruces Museum of Nature and Science, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
This Museum of Nature and Science, how do you hear me?
Las Cruces Museum of Nature and Science, welcome aboard the International Space Station. Hear you loud and clear.
What kind of research, hi Ricky, my name is SOTI. What kind of researchers are you working on in space?
Sorry. The question is, how do you get oxygen in space?
Right. Okay, how do we get oxygen in space? We actually send it up in large tanks. It's a precious resource, and we need to figure out a way to manufacture our own oxygen, hopefully using plants for longer trips into deep space.
Hi Ricky, my name is Hazel Luna, and what non-science class was most helpful in space?
Non-science class, math is certainly helpful. Some languages I've taken have been really helpful. Writing and reading have been absolutely critical. All of our instructions are written words, so we're more than specialists up here, and when you're in school, you got to take all your studies seriously.
Hi Ricky. How many years did you have to go to college to become an astronaut, and what advice do you have for a student who wants to become an astronaut?
It depends on what kind of what you study when you're in college. Like Serena went to university. I'm not sure what she's doing now, but she went to university and then went off to medical school. For me, it took about 8 years, 4 years of university and 3 years of undergraduate, and science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But most importantly, something you really enjoy doing. Serena says hi.
Hi Ricky, my name is Andrea Ramirez, and my question is, when you come home, will you go straight to normal food or still eat space food?
After 200 days in space, I think you probably know the answer to that question. And if my flight surgeon is listening, he will show up in Kazakhstan with a nice pizza for me. So I'll be ready to take a break from space food when I get home.
Hi Ricky, my name's Marty Soluhan, and my question is, how big is the space station?
I think you get a pretty good idea. This is just one of the many modules in the space station, but inside it's about the size of a jumbo 747 jet. So there's a lot of room in here. And then if you were to take the space station and lay it down, it would cover almost an entire football field. It's big.
Hi Ricky, my name is Buckner. My question is, what metal is used to prevent the Soyuz from burning when entering Earth's atmosphere?
There's a big word for that. We use ablative material, and all that really means is material that can burn off. It absorbs the heat and flakes away. We don't really, the metal doesn't do a really good job. We need material that can absorb heat and dissipate it. Much like the space shuttle, it kind of looked like it was covered on the outside with metal, but it was really covered with ceramic and cloth.
Hi, Ricky. My name is Sofia Hill. My question is, what is your spacesuit made out of, and how heavy is it?
The spacesuit we do spacewalks in weighs several hundred pounds, and it's made of many layers. We have a kind of a rubber inner layer, which the bladder, which helps hold in and maintain the air pressure that we need to survive. And then there's several layers on top of that that help provide insulation and some protection. They're really big and bulky.
Hi, Ricky. My name is Jonna Hill, and my question is, what is your next career goal after this?
Well, I will go home and continue being an astronaut as long as they'll have me. And I think after that time of my life is done, I want to go back. Education is the thing that got all of us here. I'm looking at Drew and Serena. Drew's a geologist. Serena's a doctor. Alex is down working. He's also a geologist. And education got us here. And so I really like to give something back to education.
Hi, Mr. Ricky. My name is Zoe Harris, and my question is, what is the most important tool you have in space?
I think for us, it's right here. We have a lot of really specially designed tools that we use on a day-to-day basis, but the main thing we use every day is just all that we've learned. We're confronted with complex problems every step along the way, and the way we solve those problems is based on our experience and our learning. So I think the human brain is probably our most remarkable tool.
Hi, Ricky. My name's Marty Soluhan, and my question is, do you have daily chores? And if so, could you tell us all about them?
Yes, we have daily chores. In fact, our day is planned out for us by mission control. And so and some of them involve maintenance and fixing things. This space station is really complicated, and it's been up here for a long time. So we have chores where we fix things. We also have planned science activities that we do, which are less of a chore. They're more of a job. And then on the weekend, every Saturday morning, we all get up and have to clean. And that pretty much wraps up our week and the chores we have.
Hi, Mr. Ricky. My name is Dania Harris, and I was wondering, what is the biggest life lesson you have learned while working in space?
It's a lesson I'm still learning every day, but being nice and being patient goes a long way. We have a really demanding job up here, and we're really lucky that the people on the ground who we work with are all really nice people and really patient with us when we make mistakes, and sometimes when we're grumpy when we're away from home. And so that lesson is reinforced for us every day, that just working really hard to get along with everyone up here and everyone back on the ground who's really working hard to keep us safe and happy and healthy.
Hi, Ricky. My name is Vance Ramirez, and what do you like most about your job?
I think first and foremost, the people I've been able to work with at NASA has been one of the great rewards of my career. And this portion of my job, being in space and just being able to float around and look out the window at Earth, is also a huge reward.
Hi, Ricky. What types of research are you working on in space?
There's a lot going on right now. I specifically have been growing plants on the space station, and actually two types of plants. One a flowering plant, and another one just a simple algae. We're studying how plants grow and how they reproduce on the space station. I also got to look at DNA, and DNA is kind of the code of life, and it tells cells what they're supposed to do and what their function is. And we've actually been able to isolate that material here on the space station and grow it and then actually decode it to try to figure out what kind of other critters are growing up here on the space station. We have bacteria and other fungi that grow up here along with us, and people always ask, do you have pets? So that's probably the closest we get, but we're trying to figure out what exactly is up here with us.
What was the hardest part of becoming an astronaut, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I think it's one of those life lessons. You know, it's a demanding job, and there's a lot of high expectations, and all you can really do is give your best, and even that on any given day, you're going to fall short, you're going to make mistakes, you're not going to get the job done all the way, and you really got to learn to just realize your limitations and give your best effort, and when you fall short, you know, just learn from your mistakes and really move on. You know, don't be afraid of mistakes and learn from them and move on.
How many buttons are on the space station?
The button I look to push most is Drew's button, my commander, to get him excited and going. But no, it's interesting. The space station is actually largely commanded by computer, by laptops, and largely on the ground. So, as many buttons and switches as there are up here, I bet you there were more on the space shuttle. Because most of the commanding is done through computers. But even looking around here, we're still a fair number of switches and circuit breakers for turning on power to payloads and to lights, for lights and fans and those kind of things.
Do you ever get hurt in space, and what would happen if you did?
I bump my head a lot floating up here. I think a lot of us tend to run into things until we get used to microgravity. But you saw we had Dr. Serena here. We're very lucky. When I arrived, we had a Japanese astronaut who was also a doctor, and Serena as a doctor. So my whole time here, with the exception of a few days, we have a doctor here. We also have doctors on the ground who help us out. And if we were to get hurt, we'd have Serena here to help take care of us. We all have some medical training and first aid training. And of course, we have the ground, which would help us out and help us through that, help treat that injury. And we do have a lot of medical equipment and supplies up here to help with that as well.
Hi, Ricky. How do you drink and wash your hair? Doesn't the water float away?
It does, and we actually drink out of a bag with a straw in it. Washing my hair is a lot easier than Serena washing her hair, so it doesn't take a whole lot of water. But the bag, we have a bag of water which we use for with a straw in it for drinking. Our food is all contained in a bag if we need to add water. And when we wash our hair, we actually use rinseless shampoo, so it doesn't require a lot of water. We just squirt the shampoo in. And shampoo up our hair, and the shampoo will actually dry in your hair, and you don't need to rinse it out. So we're very concerned. We conserve water up here. We don't like to use a lot because it's a precious resource, just like it is on Earth. But we do have a lot of electronic equipment here too that we don't want to get wet.
Do you have free time in space, and what do you do for fun?
We don't have a lot of free time, but when we do, I love looking out the window, taking pictures, reading, calling home, talking to friends and family. And, you know, we're in an environment where you lift your feet up and you're free floating. And that just really never gets old.
Hi, Ricky. What does microgravity feel like?
I think you get an idea. It's a really fun thing to experience microgravity. You just wish everyone could experience the joy of weightlessness.
Hi, Ricky. What did the force of takeoff feel like?
It was super exciting. If you've been on a roller coaster, launching on a rocket is the coolest roller coaster ride you ever go on. It's just the feel of power and then just pure acceleration up until about 8.5 minutes when we reach space. And then when the engine shut off, you kind of float forward in your seat and you realize that you're now in orbit around the Earth. It's a total thrill ride.
Hi, Mr. Ricky. How do you work out in space, and how often do you work out in space?
I appreciate you asking. Exercise on the space station is just as important, maybe even more important than on Earth, but we have to have activity every day up here just like you should on Earth. And so we have about 2 hours in our day where we exercise. We can run on a treadmill, which be really easy because we'd float away from the treadmill, so it actually has a harness which holds us down on the treadmill. We have an exercise bicycle that we actually stand up and ride on and pedal. And we also have a machine that helps us simulate lifting weights. But 2 hours every day while we're on the space station, and just like on Earth, exercise is really, really important.
Hi, Ricky. Can plants live in space?
They can. In fact, we've been growing some. I told you a little bit earlier, we've been growing plants up on the space station for several years now, and we know we need to grow them. When we go out to deep space on longer voyages, we're going to need to be able to grow our own food. And plants also make oxygen, which would be a really nice thing to have on the space station or any kind of vessel going out into deep space.
Have you found anything unusual or bizarre during your time in space?
You mean other than my crewmates? No. Nothing terribly unusual, but there's things you see on Earth that are just so amazingly beautiful and extraordinary that I guess that would kind of count as unusual. Seeing the northern or southern lights, the aurora, is just a really unusual view to be looking down on it, looking down on a thunderstorm from above and seeing the lightning going from cloud to cloud. I guess that would qualify as unusual, but it's unusual because it's just so beautiful and just such a unique way to look at those things.
How do you sleep in space?
Yeah, you don't really need a mattress to lay down. So I actually, we have a crew quarters, which is about the size of a refrigerator, and we actually sleep up against the wall with a couple bungees holding us to the wall inside of a sleeping bag. So we really kind of sleep standing up.
On behalf of the Museum of Nature and Science, Ricky, we cannot thank you enough for your time today.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you for the great questions. Wishing you all the best for your summer and a great upcoming school year. Take care, and thanks for joining me today.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
And thank you to all the participants from Las Cruces Museum of Nature and Science. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.